Call the meeting to order. Join me for pledge, please. Pledge to
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Callahan is excused. Houston,
Here.
Hannah,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Crusader,
Here.
O'Laughlin,
Yes.
Jensen.
Here.
Need a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
So moved. Second.
The motion is second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 6-0. Next, we'll do the proclamation. So we'll start with the Poppy Proclamation. Whereas America is the land of freedom, preserved and protected willingly and freely by citizen soldiers. Whereas millions who have answered the call to arms have died in the field of battle. Whereas a nation at peace must be reminded of the price of war and the debt owed to those who have died in war. Whereas the red poppy has been designated a symbol of sacrifice of lives in all wars, and whereas the American Legion Auxiliary has pledged to remind America annually of this debt through the distribution of memorial flowers. Therefore, I, Brad Bleichner, Mayor of Independence, Buchanan County, Iowa, do hereby proclaim the 19th and 20th days of May 2023 as Poppy Days, and ask that all citizens pay tribute to those that have made the ultimate sacrifice in the name of freedom by wearing and displaying the memorial poppy on this day. Second, I have a proclamation for the National Police Memorial Week, May 14th to the 20th, 2023. Whereas in 1962, President John F. Kennedy signed a proclamation which designated May 15th as Peace Officers Memorial Day, and that the week in which that date falls is as National Police Memorial Week. Currently, tens of thousands of law enforcement officers from around the world converge on Washington, D.C. to participate in a number of planned events which honor those that have paid the ultimate sacrifice. And whereas our law enforcement officers as guardians of life and property, defenders of the individual right to be free, warriors in battle against crime, and are dedicated to the preservation of life and property. And whereas the City of Independence honors the valor, service, and dedication of all police officers and publicly salutes the service for each and every one of our own Independence police officers. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Mayor and City Council of the City of Independence hereby proclaim May 14th to the 20th, 2023 as Police Week in the City of Independence, and call upon our citizens to make every effort to express appreciation to these men and women who are willing to sacrifice their lives if necessary to guard us and our loved ones against all those who would violate the law. And be it further resolved that we invite all citizens to reflect and remember two Independence police officers, Harold Humphrey Pierce and Pitt McClellan Doxey, who lost their lives in the service of our community. These men will forever be remembered for their ultimate sacrifice presented this 8th day of May, 2023. Next, we will move to the minutes from the regular meeting. No, sorry, I'm sorry. We'll move to public comment. Is anybody here that has any public comment that they wish to make? Hearing none, we'll move on to the next consent agenda. I need a motion to accept and approve the consent agenda that approves the following: the minutes of the April 24, 2023 regular meeting, the special event application Independence Barbecue, August 26, 2023, the special event application Meet Me on Main, August 11, 2023.
So moved. Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 6-0. Next, we move to the financials. I need a motion to approve the claims for payment.
So moved. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Does anybody have any discussion with regard to the payment of claims? Hearing.
Yeah, what's the almost 63,000 for Office Town?
That's the furniture. That's mainly mine.
Mainly yours?
Yep. We talked about this
Long time.
about 2 months ago. I think it was, we brought up the cost of the furniture. And then also then that includes all the other like
we needed a refrigerator for that place and just some other stuff. I mean, it's just, it's the TVs also, so.
Okay.
We didn't have any before this because we didn't have the ability to do that. So between the furniture, the conference room stuff that we needed, some of these associated, IT type things, Tom. And then plus, we were sharing like a one waste basket at the end, so I bought waste baskets for everybody, and that doesn't make up $62,000. But I will tell you that this is an all-inclusive bill with them. There won't be anything more coming through, but obviously that was, as far as the stuff now on the assembly side of it, they may have more on that for the furniture. But this is an all-inclusive, and when you take the tour up there, you'll see everything. And also, I'll tell you that we went with, just like they did here at City Hall with commercial TVs. And the reason you do that is if it's in a commercial place, a business, a government facility, if it dies, we can get it replaced. If I buy one, say from Amazon or some other deep discount retailer, I'm just stuck with it and I don't have a warranty. So I'll tell you that. But yeah, that's why it's a big number, but it's all inclusive of everything.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion to approve the financials?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes 6-0. Next, we move to revenues and expenses to date. You guys all had a chance to look at those. Is there anything that anybody has any questions with regard to the revenues and expenses? Okay, hearing none, we'll move to item 4, hearing and ordinances. We'll start with the pursuant to the agenda. I'm now going to convene a public hearing for the fiscal year 2023 budget amendment number 2.
I received no written comments or anything about this, so.
Nobody has any comments with regard to the budget amendment?
Just a thumbnail sketch of how much how much of an increase we saw and how much we need to amend to go to other departments.
Basically, so overall, expenditures are going up $994,880 between public safety, public works, culture and recreation, community and economic development, capital projects, and business type enterprise.
$1 million.
However, there was $1,272,552 additional revenue, so it covers the extra expense. It doesn't change the levy or anything. It's just, we need the spending authority for some departments to get through the rest of the year.
This is the
I know,
2020.
Bob.
Yeah.
You know, typically every year with sports seasons, Bobby typically, needs this kind of flexibility.
Influx, yeah.
But I can't imagine the other ones. I thought they were pretty static as far as what.
Usually I don't have any issues, but there was all this extra revenue to where I'm like, just in case some of them, like fire department, when the budget was originally done, some items were cut, but not put back in when we were originally doing the budget. And everybody got participated in the IMWCA shoe grant.
Right.
To where that was an unexpected expense, but we got reimbursed for it. So I have to offset it.
So you're comfortable with, okay.
Any further comments with regard to the budget amendment number 2? Okay, I'll now close the public hearing, and the city clerk will note the comments for the record. Next, we'll move to item 5, which is the 2023 2nd Street Southwest Bridge and 8th Street Southwest Pedestrian Bridge Rehab Project. Pursuant to the agenda, I'm now going to convene the public hearing for the 2023 2nd Street Southwest Bridge and 8th Avenue Southwest Pedestrian Bridge Rehabilitation Project. Were there any comments?
We did not receive any written comments on this as
Do
well.
we have anybody that has any comments with regard to that project? Hearing none,
You would talk about that, Brian.
when it gets out here. I can do it now. The person that I think has the most experience involving bridges in the city of Independence is Buchanan County Engineer Brian Keilever. So we did reach out to Brian on this to see, have him look at the specs and have him look at the quotes to make sure that he thought that they were in line, and he thought that they were. So,
It's a great idea.
Yeah.
so we're stealing county money on that, I think. Oh, did I say that?
He's the bridge group.
He's the bridge guru. He knows everything about him, and if you talk to him, you'll know all about it too. Okay, so and if there's no other comments, then I'll close the public hearing and the city clerk will note the comments in the record. We'll move to item B, which is the resolution approving and confirming the plan specifications, form of contract, and estimated cost for the 2023 Second Street Southwest Bridge and 8th Avenue Southwest Pedestrian Bridge Rehabilitation Project. So at this point, I need a motion to approve a resolution finally approving and confirming plan specifications, form of contract, and estimate of cost for the 2023 Second Street Southwest Bridge and 8th Avenue Southwest Pedestrian Bridge Rehabilitation Project.
So moved. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion with regard to this particular issue? Okay. Hearing none, we'll have a roll call vote on this, please.
Houston,
Yes.
Hannah,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Prasada,
Yes.
O'Laughlin,
Yes.
Jensen.
Yes.
Passes 6-0. Next, we'll move to the consideration of bids for the 2023 Second Street Southwest Bridge and 8th Avenue Southwest Pedestrian Bridge Rehabilitation Project. The bids were opened on May the 4th, 2023, 11 a.m. Crawford took the two bids back for formal review and sent us their letter of recommendation and bid tabulation. So we have those. This is for the discussion part only that we're in right now. So we're not voting on anything with regard to C. If we now move to item D, then on the, I need a motion to approve a resolution awarding a contract for the 2023 Second Street Southwest Bridge and 8th Avenue Southwest Pedestrian Bridge Rehabilitation Project to Jasper Construction Services in the bid amount of $415,068.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. The two bids that we had, what was the larger bid? Does somebody have that for me?
528,000.
522.
522. So, it sounds to me like we have and I know that, when I spoke to, Mr. Collier about it, our concern was there was such a large gap between the numbers. We wanted to make sure that we thought that they were quoting on the same information, aside from what you tell us. So I asked that, and he said that it was, and he said that the higher bid is a larger company and they tend to sometimes bid higher on projects that they don't necessarily want to take. And I don't know whether you guys agree with that or not, but
It's the only other thing I'd add is that Jasper Construction, they were the company who did the overlay project or rehabilitation project on the First Street Bridge in, I believe, 2020.
okay, good.
We were more than satisfied with their work there.
Glad to hear that. Okay, thank you for that.
Where's Jasper Construction?
They're out of Newton.
Yeah, the other one was out of a larger city though, wasn't it? It was there.
Right.
Grimes.
The Wayne area.
Okay, all right, thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
Is there any other further discussion with regard to this resolution, this motion and resolution?
I'm glad you took that out because I had that same, there's a big difference between those two.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes when we have, multiple bids, like 4 or 5 bids and stuff, you can kind of see a pattern on some things. But when you only have 2, you get a concern. Are they really bidding on the same thing? And are we going to get the service? Are they going to have a lot of add-ons at the end? So that's one of the reasons why that we wanted to look at that a little further. Okay, if there's no further discussion, then we'll have a roll call vote on that.
Hannah,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Prasada,
Yes.
O'Laughlin,
Yes.
Jensen,
Yes.
Houston.
Yes.
Passes 6-0. Okay, so we're going to move into the resolutions. Okay, I need a motion to approve a resolution to reappoint Robin Bleichner to the library board.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. I did speak to Ms. Bleichner. And she is interested in continuing, and I had also spoken to Laura to make sure that she wanted her to continue, and she does. So,
What kind of concessions did we have to make?
well, you're still on, Tom. So if there's no further discussion on that, that's a roll call vote also, please.
Moore,
Yes.
Crusader,
Yes.
O'Laughlin,
Yes.
Jensen,
Yes.
Houston,
Yes.
Hannah.
Yes.
Passes 6-0. Next, we move to another library reappointment. This is a motion to approve a resolution that reappoints Deb Clark to the library board. First, I need a motion.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Again, I spoke with both Deb and I also spoke with Laura to make sure that they wanted to continue, and they both do. So when somebody wants to continue and there's no issue with them, I'm going to always reappoint. So is there any further discussion with regard to Deb? Hearing none, it's a roll call vote as well, please.
Crusader,
Yes.
O'Laughlin,
Yes.
Jensen,
Yes.
Houston,
Yes.
Hannah,
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Passes 6-0. Next, we move to other business. I need a motion to approve the write-off submitted by the Independence Light and Power.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Discussion with regard to this?
So these are non-payees for various reasons.
Correct. Some of them have gone bankrupt. Some of them have passed away. Some of them are just uncollectible. And I think I was told that these numbers pretty consistent with what we've had in the past.
There was some, see that it's kind of mirrored. There was a couple of years even.
This was even less in some years.
Right.
Well, you had like a 6-year spread on you, right, Susie?
It was all provided by Independence Light and Power, the numbers, so.
Yeah, it starts 2017, 18, and runs all the way through 22, 23, the overall numbers. With the highest being 18,000 and change last year, or sorry, in 2020, 2021. And the lowest being 11,000 in 2018, 19.
Did they say if there's any repeat offenders?
I don't ask them that. They,
to decide that, right?
Yes,
Yeah.
that's correct.
So what do they do to recoup those losses? Do they?
I'm not for sure what steps they'll take, so.
Citizens of Independence pay for it.
So that's right.
Well, that,
So-
that,
They
I
make every
I
effort to
can't
collect.
speak to for sure how they recoup that. They might just write it off and it's a done deal and that's it. So,
But I'm sure they take it very seriously. They're not going to write something off that has any possibility of collecting. So
They're very diligent.
so we're basically quote rubber stamping what their board did, recommended to us. So if there's any further discussion, if there's not any further discussion, that would again be a roll call vote.
O'Laughlin,
Yes.
Jensen,
Yes.
Houston,
Yes.
Hannah,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Crusader.
Yes.
Passes 6-0. Move to item B, which is the Intercog income verification contract. I need a motion to approve the income verification contract with Intercog.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion with regard to
Now, is
this?
this for our LMI money?
I had another applicant apply and send it off to Intercog, and then they realized the contract had expired, so we just need to renew it for them to make sure the person qualifies.
Worked out well.
So the $350 per household application.
The city pays that
The city.
with the LMI funds.
Further discussion?
So maybe there'll be approval of this again.
I'm not for sure how often, or how the contract expires, so I didn't realize the last one did, so.
So we don't know if it's like a 5-year or 10-year or
Oh,
whatever.
no, it's not 5 years, because it hasn't been 5 years.
I think it's 3, but I'm not 100% sure on that. I'm not 100% sure on that. But that's what I kind of recall from having seen it once, a long time ago.
Because normally something like this is normally more than 1 or 2.
Yes,
Yeah.
correct. Any further discussion with regard to that? If there's no further discussion, now we move to a roll call vote.
Jensen,
Yes.
Houston,
Yes.
Hannah,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Crusader,
Yes.
O'Laughlin.
Yes.
Passes 6-0.
There doesn't appear to be a termination date in the contract when you read through it. There's a method for termination that says either party can terminate with 30 days notice. But there doesn't appear to be a sunset date in this version.
I didn't think there was here.
Is that on a new contract or the old
The
contract?
new,
It's
the
the
one that
new
you-
one that's attached. It might have had it in the old one, but
Right,
We know the date of the previous one.
I don't.
Okay. All right, let's move to item C. Sorry.
So it's more of an evergreen contract where it just stays in place until either party terminates, which I think is okay.
Mhm.
So,
Okay, next we move to item C, which is the commercial restoration rehab grant for 200 First Street East. First, I need a motion to approve the commercial restoration rehab grant for 200 First Street East in the amount of $10,000.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Further discussion with regard to this. I know we talked about it at the committee of the whole, but do people still have other conversation as well, discussion as well? Okay, hearing none, this is a roll call vote.
Houston,
Yes.
Hannah,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Crusader,
Yes.
O'Laughlin,
Yes.
Jensen.
Yes.
It passes 6-0. Next, we move to the item D, which is the Spargrove Catalyst project work change. I need a motion to accept the removal of the awnings from the scope of the Catalyst project for 200 First Street East.
So second.
I have a motion and a second. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the awnings were in such bad shape that it appeared that if we just, rather than trying to repair them or do something else with them, it made sense to just take them down because, they have done so. And I think it looks much better with them down.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't know if anybody else has any other questions or discussion with regard to that. The original scope of the work was to included something to do with the repair of the awnings, which is why now that we're moving forward with the project itself and getting closer to the end, it's necessary for us to change the scope of the
I think
project.
there also some concern about how they would fasten because of changes made at the front of the building and height.
You're exactly right, Brian. I'd forgotten that part. Thank you.
And I think there's going to be some darkening of the windows to accommodate the loss of
The shading.
if I remember.
Yes, correct. I'm sorry.
I think we covered all, I covered you saying that, we talked about.
the only other thing I'd point out is we have talked with Jim about this at IEDA, and he's accepting of this modification as well.
Correct. Okay, so then I need a roll call vote on this then.
Hannah,
Yes.
Moore,
Yes.
Crusader,
Yes.
O'Laughlin,
Yes.
Jensen,
Yes.
Passes.
Houston.
Yes.
Passes 6-0. I'll move to item E. This is a mouthful, so let me try to go through it. A motion to accept the assignment of proceeds of the Catalyst grant upon issuance of certificates of occupancy for the residential units constructed under the grant program to Lincoln Savings Bank for the project at 200 First Street East. I need a motion and I need a second, please.
Second.
A motion and a second. Mr. Spargrove has requested that in order to get a line of credit, as I understand it, he would like us to he wants to assign the proceeds from the Catalyst money that we would get from the grant so that we would, rather than paying him the money, we would, by way of the assignment, would pay it directly to the bank so that they would recover the monies that he's getting advanced for so he can complete the construction. In fact, Dom, is that?
That doesn't violate any of his responsibilities that Dom has, for receiving that. He's just basically directing it to them.
Correct. And we did check with Jim Thompson as well on that to make sure that he didn't have any problem and that we were not in violation of anything by doing that. And we think that this helps out in terms of moving the project along and getting it completed.
Excellent.
Okay. So is there any further discussion with regard to that? Deb, any questions that you had?
No.
Okay, then we would need a roll call vote on that. Oh, sorry.
I didn't print the agenda, so I don't have that. Correct me.
Did the motion?
I'll get that later. I just want to make sure everything's right.
We did do a motion.
Right.
Yeah.
I just, when I printed my agenda, I didn't have this item on.
Just catch it up.
I just want to make sure I had all the names written down.
Sure.
Moore,
Yes.
Crusader,
Yes.
O'Laughlin,
Yes.
Jensen,
Yes.
Houston,
Yes.
Hannah.
Yes.
Passes 6-0. Next, we move to item F, which is the Spargrove Development Agreement Addendum. So first, I need a motion to approve the addendum to the development agreement with Dominic Spargrove. In a second as well.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. So basically what everybody knows, we're talking about the apartments above Hardick Drug. And Mr. Spargrove has had there's been some delays as a result of issues with contractors, issues with supply chains, lots of other issues as well. We had previously given a date of May the 1st in terms of the completion date for the project, and obviously that's come and gone. So by way of this addendum, we are extending the time period for the completion date to June the 10th of 2023. And the reason we've used the June the 10th date is because that's the last date that the state has given us. So that's why we're moving it to that date.
Can you meet that?
Well,
Light some fires, but people do our gardens. We're gonna start painting here at the end of the month, so as long as the weather holds out. Being warm, we should be able to start painting. So they start drywall. They are mudding right as we speak. So I said they'll be able to be hanging kitchens.
So if you would come up to the microphone. Go ahead. I just wanted to make sure we could have the
Yeah.
audio recorded.
The plan is to start painting here at the end of May, or whatever month this is. Thanks, Patty. And, so we'll start painting outside. We're hoping to be painting inside this weekend. He's there now, so as long as he holds true, we should be able to get 2 apartments painted hopefully this weekend, and get kitchens in. And that's the big step there. Trying to find somebody to do the ceilings, that's gonna be my next hang up, but as long as we can figure that one out, we should be good to go. I do have a couple of contractors that I just found that can help with hanging doors and trim work. So I guess if I hire them to do doors and trim, I can maybe do ceilings instead, so. Yes,
What's your flooring? Is your flooring in?
the flooring is on order, so that should, and it's all that luxury vinyl, tile and then, or planks, and then, the rest of carpet. And we made them all, so even I can install that carpet, so that's kind of, we make everything 12 foot wide or 15, so you can just roll the carpet out, and then when the tenants run it, you just roll it back up and go get a new chunk, so.
Dom, I know you're already doing this, but just please keep Lisa up to date in terms of what's going on, that she can report back to us.
Yep.
Keep us in the loop.
Was in touch this morning. I gotta send her a whole mess of stuff here, hopefully tomorrow, so.
Has Jim Thompson given you any indication when he plans to come out to inspect?
I'm still waiting to get the dates from him. And as soon as I do, I'll coordinate with everybody.
Okay, thank you, Lisa. I appreciate it.
A question I have is, if you said the drywall is done, it's being mudded now, and you expect the 2 apartments to be painted. Now, when you say the drywall is done, is that the entire top floor is
No.
fully done?
We have one more apartment that I think apartment 4 is all wired. And I believe it's ready to be inspected or has been inspected. He was not there when I was just there. So I will get with him tomorrow on that one. And then 5, which is the little 1 bedroom. He's gonna jump on, I'm assuming, here tomorrow, because that's the only one that's left.
Okay, so drywall is not done.
Drywall's not done in all of them, but we're just trying to,
And just for clarification,
Yeah.
because I
No,
didn't,
yeah,
I didn't think all the
No,
drywall was
it-
done. You made the statement it
Yeah.
was done,
Yeah.
which is not correct.
yeah, no, that is true. 1, 2, 7 are completely drywalled. They are ready for mud. 3 has, I'm not sure what their plan was there, but they got half the rooms done. It's kind of a hodgepodge of how they were doing stuff. All the outside firewalls are done. That kind of drywall, but yes, there's where they just inspected, those walls are still open. So that's the guy who's drywalling, doing the mudding and taping. He has another crew that actually hangs it, so they'll be hanging it hopefully. Again, tomorrow, if I get a hold of Troy, and make sure that he says 6, 2 or 3 and 4 are all done. It's just 5 that should needs to get wired. So then plumbing and all that stuff is all good to go, so we should be able to.
How many extensions has it been?
Agreement with him, so-
I believe this is the third. This is the 3rd extension?
Yeah, it's gonna.
Third, yeah, agreement is really just about.
Because this June 10th deadline, that's for the state's funding, correct? If it's not done by June 10th, this problem or not?
Not a problem. So we've talked with Jim about it quite a bit and at IDA. And he said as long as there's substantial completion, what he considers like he has to come through and walk through it.
Correct.
As long as he feels like it's substantially complete, then he'll release the funds to us and then we can then kind of control the release of those funds from there going forward until we get it completely done.
I think that's what Lisa was
That's
explaining to me.
right. That's why we worded the motion the way we did, that it has to have, that in order for us to completely release those to Lincoln Savings Bank, we would have to have certificates of occupancy for each of those residential units.
Is substantial considered 80% or more?
Well, it's substantial completion is whatever the state says it is.
Right.
Okay,
If the state, as long as they release the funds to us, that's all we care about.
Right.
Because then we have control over, and we're not going to release the funds to Lincoln Savings until
we have.
we have certificate.
I was just curious if anybody had a number what the state considers substantial.
We don't. I know that the state would like to find a way to make it, finish it on, before, they'd like to sign off on this before the 10th. That's the impression that they've given us.
It sounds like we'll have a walkthrough with Jim and all that.
Right.
So.
And like I said, from the city's perspective, if the state approves it and they sign off as substantially complete and they give us the money, and then we'd have control of the money at that point to make sure that we've got certificate of occupancy, we're good to go. And of course, Don, we're going to keep on you to make sure you stay on, okay.
But it makes them go fast. They don't care if I'm mad at them, like,
Mm-hmm.
they think the city's like, hey, we gotta get this done, or I send Todd up there. That usually gets something done. Todd's.
Right. See, I was thinking,
On our side.
I was thinking this was the third extension and
There's only one extension by the state though.
by the state, it's only one.
Correct.
Yeah,
But that June 10th, just for all the work that I see that needs done up there, you gotta get moving. It's gonna be done by June 10th.
My real goal is the first part of July is where I'd like to be. And I think that one's doable as long as no one decides, oh, I'm going on vacation for 2 weeks.
We'll take this up again
Okay.
when we get close to the June 10th date to see on another extension and what the extent of that extension would be.
Right.
Did I say June 10th?
Yeah, you do.
The biggest one is to make sure Jim is happy and signs off, and then.
Exactly.
That's
Exactly.
pretty much good. Then you guys can hold my feet to the fire for the rest of it, because
Further,
we obviously want to get her done.
absolutely. Get your tenants in there.
Yeah.
Get people up there and get
It's gotta
them.
start happening here soon, because it needs to be done. I'm ready to be filling them instead of.
So is this appropriate for me to ask about what's going in downstairs then? Did you?
I have not,
It's not
Got
part of
hold
this
of-
item.
No.
It's not part of this item.
Okay.
but, I do have a tenant when Hardig Drug does decide to go, and then, a few for the other ones. I do have somebody to come look at all that fun stuff that's in the end unit, so that unit can get cleaned up. So.
Okay.
they're
Sounds good.
tomorrow.
Any further questions for Dom or any further comments or questions with regard to the motion that's before you? Thank you, Dom. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hearing none, we'll have a roll call vote on this motion for the extension.
Versater,
Yes.
O'Laughlin,
Yes.
Jensen,
Yes.
Houston,
Yes.
Hannah,
Yes.
Moore.
Yes.
Okay, next we move to council members' reports. Catherine, do you want to start?
No, something I don't.
Mike?
Just a reminder to the community that June 10th is our Waste Amnesty Day, and you can bring your TV sets to River's Edge. What about computers? Is that
10.
And so I think there's probably a copy of
In
that on the
Manchester?
city site.
Yes, there's a flyer on the website and also on the Facebook page, and I shared it on We the People and Independent Speaks.
sounds good?
The only thing I would point out that's different this time than last year, because we did a question about it, was there's not, at the waste management facility, there's not gonna be any trailers allowed. So if you bring it in waste in the back of a pickup truck, that's fine, but if you're pulling a trailer behind it, that won't be allowed because there was issues with that last year, so that change was made for this year.
Sure.
Thank
So
you.
everybody's got to bring their stuff around town.
Thank you
Need
for
to
pointing
get their
that out.
stuff in the back trucks or something, because that's gonna happen.
Yeah.
You drive around town, you see the
Yeah, that's why I wanted to bring it up.
trailers full and
Do we need to make sure that's,
It is on the
It's public.
flyer.
is it?
Yeah.
Okay.
it's just that it's new, so nobody's,
Safe.
On the topic, are they gonna need to have the tarp? I know that's been a
Yes.
discussion lately. Are the pickups gonna have to be?
That is not in the paper.
Well, that's why I asked the question.
All waste management deliveries, I believe,
No.
have to be.
No, they never, for this citywide cleanup, they have not required that.
And I just asked that to maybe we can find out that because I know somebody else went up, took a load up, was rejected because of what.
If you take it up today or whatever you're paying, it's gotta be targeted, but for our citywide cleanup,
They have not said if
It's
it
never
needs to
been
be
tarped.
tarped,
it
but
never had to be targeted.
Yeah, you're right. Just
I take a load up every year for somebody, so
Yeah. That was 8 years ago, almost, I don't know.
I've been it every year.
Yeah.
Last year we didn't have tarp either.
Brian,
I'm good, thank you, sir. I just want to thank Dave for everything he's done in that police department. It's came a long ways. I normally check on it a couple times a week and it's coming along great. And that's about it.
When Dave comes up, I just have a question for him. When are we gonna get the tour?
We'll let Tommy finish, get you on everything.
All right.
The only thing I have is just a reminder again that at the end of April, the building trades class out at Indy High School completed a home on the northwest side. And it was, the main contractor was Precision Plumbing and Heating. They did a really nice job and it's already rented out. So did a good job there. And congratulations on the anniversary with you and the library board of directors.
thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
Oh, look at that. I drive by there so fast trying to avoid the speed camera.
Okay,
We keep track of you, Brian.
I'll go next. Is that okay?
Yeah.
So, couple things. Everybody knows by now that General Mills has announced that it's, closing the Independence, Blue Buffalo manufacturing plant effective at the end of the year. The products are the True Chews and the Nudge brands. General Mills has indicated that there's approximately 250 employees that work at the Independence plant. It's our understanding that approximately 30% of those live in Independence. They're going to be open through the end of the year. They're going to provide career services, benefit support, severance, retirement, and health benefits as Blue Buffalo determines the next steps toward Independence closing the plant.
Is there any chance that General Mills will bring something else in by chance?
We don't know the answer to that. They've specifically indicated that they want to work with the city to try to find a new person to come in there. So we will be working with them. Item number 2, which kind of has.
So I think they actually indicated a new owner for the building as
Yeah.
well. So that would infer to me that they're not looking to put any of their other product lines in there, but they're looking to sell it to somebody else.
Wednesday, May the 31st from 3 to 6, Heartland Acres has an event that's Buchanan County Economic Development partnering with Buchanan County ISU Extension and Independence Area Chamber of Commerce to hold a job fair. So that will be taking place, like I said, May 31st. It's a Wednesday from 3 to 6 p.m. So I don't know whether any of the people that are might potentially be losing their jobs would be interested in attending the job fair and seeing what else is available for the different other people that might be participating in the job fair.
What day was that? I'm sorry.
It's Wednesday, May the 31st. Also, today, Matt and I participated in a Zoom call with a person from the Child Care Market Study. This is the grant that we got with regard to the child care issues in town. We're working on the contract with them and when they're going to start the actual study itself. It looks like we're trying to target August 1st for the start of the study. The study will take approximately 3 months to initially get the information from the various different manufacturers and other people in town. And then the steering committee that would be involved in that would be evaluating those and then would be meeting with the different people from the grant study itself in terms of recommendations, in terms of what we can do. If anybody's interested in being on the steering committee itself, and obviously we have to be careful about numbers and stuff, but if you want to be an actual member of the steering committee, talk to Matt about it and give him tell him that you're interested. We'll be putting together a group. Hopefully the majority of the group will be business owners in town themselves, because there's the ones that are most affected by this, and we're trying to use them. Obviously some of the people from the current childcare, like Kidsville and Mosier will probably also be on it. But like I said, if anybody's has a real desire to be involved in this, that we will have some more people on the steering committee from council as well.
What's the total potential grant?
Well,
The total for the childcare,
we don't.
it's 10,000.
But I thought there was,
This is just a study.
weren't we going for, didn't go for
It has-
$50,000 grant?
It hasn't come out yet.
Right.
It hasn't come out yet.
Yeah, we
So
don't
we're
have-
still waiting for it to come out. But our thought process was, by doing the market study,
Yeah.
we're much in a much better position than someone else that we might be competing for the same
Be better
grants.
prepared.
Yeah. I'd be interested.
Yeah, let's talk about it after the meeting, but I appreciate that, Mike. Okay, so that's all that I had. Is there anything else that you had, Matt?
Just give you a quick, a little bit of update about the library. They've had some network difficulties since last Wednesday. We're working through a remediation process with that, and our insurance carrier is involved in that. So just letting you know, it's pretty sizable.
Pull call.
Oh yeah, I'll get to that. But it's pretty sizable investment that our insurance carrier is gonna have to make in order to remediate that situation. So just wanted to let you know. If you have questions.
What situation, electronics or?
It's related to their network. It's related to the network infrastructure, and because it's an active investigation,
Can't
can't go into a lot of that.
Did you read your email? Or an email on it?
Pardon?
Yeah.
An email on it.
Yeah. If you have questions about it, want to talk more about it, let me know. I'm happy to sit down with you and talk. And then the other thing included in the agenda packet for tonight was the National Community Survey report results from Polco. This was the second survey that was done. Was started long before I got here, and but some interesting stuff in there, and some interesting feedback about the city. So I'd recommend you take a few moments and read through it. Yeah.
This was something that was paid for with the
COVID.
right,
ARPA money.
the ARPA money.
Yeah.
So,
And the other thing I think is police chief.
well, I don't know. Blake, do you have something as well, or? Okay, Dave?
So I'll take your question, Deb.
Just when we were gonna get to tour.
Oh, okay. So, I'll answer your question first, even though it's kind of reverse. So I'm kind of thinking that probably that first or second week of June, we'll get the city council in for a tour. And I'll try and set that up when we'll set you up in some time so we don't create a quorum possibility on that. And the reason is as you'll see in this, we're kind of still waiting on some things. So
We can, when you do that tour, Dave, if you
Yeah.
want to do it as a group, we can do that. We just need to notice it.
oh, okay.
It's no different than what we did with the apartments when we did that.
Sure.
So it makes it simpler, so we just do it all at once.
And we'll even be able, if we wanted to, if you wanted to do these moving committee as a whole meeting in June there, you could. Because our conference room are big enough, but you don't have to. I'm not gonna force you. into
Let's just see how it is when you get closer to time.
You betcha. So electrical, the first inspection was done last week and I didn't know. The state inspector's office passed it the first time, but they're gonna send a second inspector in and redo Wednesday of this week. So I'm waiting on that. Floors are 100% done, paint's 100% done, HVAC is 100% done. I'm waiting on a few lights and exhaust fans that have been back ordered coming in. The gable work has started today where they're replacing those gables. And then the soffit work underneath the front entrance has started. That's separate from that other approval that you had done with G&S or whoever we talked about, that secondary stuff where they're gonna come in. I'm actually gonna meet with Mike Toll tomorrow. We're gonna cut the distance in half, I think, and meet in Evansdale and compare. I wanna make sure the color we're gonna get from them, because he sends me pictures and I can't tell what it looks like on the picture. Sorry if I phone went down. So on the moving side of it, I got with Matt, we got approved to get a truck to move because it'd be much easier. I called and got the truck rented for Friday of last week, and I reserved it for all of this week. We rented a 26-foot straight truck. I went up and got it Thursday night. They gave it to me early. And right away Friday, we started moving large items from the PD. We got everything of the large items that we could get that will fit into the new place. We got all that moved. Then we went out Friday afternoon, started on the furniture that we had stored at Starlight Cinema. We got all of that moved, and we got one more truckload moved. So we moved 4 26-foot straight trucks equivalent on Friday alone. Wow. And that was much further ahead of schedule than we thought we were gonna be. So actually this morning I went up to try and get a small truck because I didn't want to pay for the large truck. And it turns out they didn't have one for me. So we pushed the truck rental off until Wednesday, and that's going to be a smaller van size truck, and that'll save us some money on that as well. Sorry, phone keeps going off. I gotta reset that. And today we got together this morning then and started putting furniture together at the new place, unboxing, putting it together. We had so much I had to call the street crews up to push down all the junk that we thrown in the roll off to actually get it to fit. About half of the furniture is done today, but we can't push it up against the walls. Light power is on scene today. We had to buy 2 new switches to add because we have so many Ethernet cables running throughout that we have one now, and we had to buy 2 more. They were up this morning putting the box on, and I believe we have internet and cable working at our facility as of today. We haven't tested it out yet. The doors are gonna come in on the 22nd because of the way the schedule is going, and with also the windows are the 15th or the 16th, they're gonna show up. We've got that front window for Katie, and then also a back window. We're just gonna keep it closed that next week anyway, and not worry about the doors, because otherwise Larson has given a lot to this project. And I will point out to you that when they put the bid in for any normal bid process, they're gonna say how much they have to do for work. They've gone over and above. I mean, they have done a wonderful, wonderful job for us. Anytime there's something that they can just pop in and do when they get labor there, they just do it even if it wasn't a part of it. So hats off to them. And I met with Doug Larson today and I told them that as well.
Keep in mind that they were also about $150,000 under the closest bid.
Yeah, they were under 150 on those bids, plus the fact that we were able to curtail some of that.
Right.
And then the window coverings, those will be in this week and probably be installed as well. We've got a new mailbox out front. We bought a security mailbox to go out there, and that was part of like the office town too that I forgot about. There's a lot of little things I keep forgetting that have come up over the long haul. But I will say that office town also, with the amount of stuff that we bought, also then threw in and gave us a bunch of stuff for free, like toilet paper dispensers and hand towel dispensers and soap dispensers for our bathrooms. Now on the back end, we're gonna resupply with them when we need that, but they gave all that to us for free, and that would have cost us as well. So my goal right now is in that first week in June to try and get the council in there. And then about the 3rd week in June, we're gonna do a contractors open house for the contractors and their families only. And then after that, we will do an open house. And I believe I'm on for the 21st. I think that Wednesday, I think I'm on Nikki Barr's schedule for the Chamber of Commerce to come and do a ribbon cutting, if I remember the date right, when I met with her last.
Wednesday's the 22nd, I think, of June.
Yeah, I can't remember what dates, somewhere in there.
I'm sorry, I looked at the 22 calendar, sorry.
Okay, yeah, Wednesday, the 21st, I think is when we're on for that.
And Signs and More is going to have the sign out this week, we hope.
The Signs and More should have the sign this week. They had the front door graphics ready. The production for the one-way film on those 4 windows when you walk into the entryway went into production after our okay last week. And then there was a couple of, the door signage for inside, which designates which office. That'll be in production here soon, but I don't need that right away.
Okay.
But otherwise, other than we won't be open to the public at the location, Friday night at 5 o'clock, we're gonna be working out of that building.
Nice.
That won't be all up and running and it won't be all perfect. And I pretty much perceive for the next 2 months, we're gonna try and figure out where stuff is.
How about the cable? Yeah, I think it's a cable. Previous chief talked about connecting to the sheriff's office, so you have better access to, like, is it FBI stuff?
You could run a dedicated line, but that's gonna cost you a big amount, to be quite honest with you. Yep. And you do that if you need it as a secured line, if you're running something. But the other thing is, we've got the fiber run to that building already. Light and Power ran that fiber. Secondarily, there's already been some talks about upgrading city facilities, so we're on a dedicated fiber side of it, and Matt's smarter at that than I am. There's no doubt. But once we do that, we'll have better service, but we're gonna be on fiber now. And with all new Ethernet throughout that building, that's gonna improve our connectivity, I think, a huge amount compared to what we had before. And again, there's gonna be some baby steps on that, getting that up and running within the next 2 weeks, but
So to give you a little bit of insight on that, I've had some conversations with IPLT about making sure that our city facilities are on separate fiber, that they're on their own dedicated systems, that they're not running on top of other people's systems.
Nice.
And to give you an example, the Falcon Civic Center out there runs off of a residential cable modem right now. It's $190 to run fiber out there.
Wow.
I mean, that's, yeah. So we've started that process. There's some other things that we would need to do to change out some other network infrastructure, but that'll be it's a 5-digit number. So that one we're gonna have to budget for, but it's a lower 5-digit number, but it's still 5 digits. So, we need a budget for that. That's not something that we can share and consume, but getting them on fiber at least so that so they have access to our city systems is what we need to do for efficiency and communication. So.
I'd also like to point out the sheriff's department this week and Friday, they were notified and they picked up all the phone calls. Now, our system is picked up and Katie's not there, that automatically rolls over to dispatch. I told him, I said, you're gonna have to take them all week. I know it's a little bit more than what you normally do, but they've agreed to do that and did it great. And then lastly, I want to remind you all that without Mayor Brad, that this thing would not have taken place. I spun my wheels for the first however many months I was here. We talked about it. We went out and met with the realtors and we did everything else. But it's really Brad who got us up and going on this. It was his as dual mayor and city manager that got me to where I am today. So all the hard work that I put in is nothing without Brad getting us to where we are today. There's no doubt.
Thank you, Dave. And I know that I thank you publicly before, but I think, or privately before, but publicly, Dave has done a remarkable job of keeping the cost down on this and getting all the things accomplished and keeping on Larson and moving them along. Not that they wouldn't have gone along anyway, but together we did a really good job of putting this together. And I know that I say this every time I get the chance, but when you guys are full up and operational, the first time in 50 years that the city of Independence has had our police station in a building that we've owned, which is really remarkable.
It'll be the first time ever that the police department has been in its own building. Because prior to the 50 years, we were upstairs here at City Hall.
That's right.
Downstairs.
Or downstairs, yeah, I'm sorry. I wasn't around back then, Mike. I was.
It was.
Were you?
Yeah, I got pulled in.
You stayed there.
Throwing stuff.
But
Did a jail down there too, didn't they?
so the other thing I would tell you is as you go up there, remember, we're not in the building that we need now. We're in the building that we may need in the future. So this is not one of these things that we have to come back to and ask for money because we have to expand out the building because we need more room. We've got the extra room now to be able to expand in the future. At some point, we'll get it figured out and do for a garage out back that we desperately need as well. But as I see it, for the needs of this community, we are set for the next 50 to 60 years without having to touch a thing on the inside of the building for space. Other than some renovations, maybe downstairs, but where we didn't do anything. But otherwise, I could expand out by several staff. I can have to do a thing. So
That's excellent.
We got that all recorded, right? Okay.
I'm only around for 2 years, 5 months. 1 week and 4 days. So for me, I'm not.
Thank you again, Dave.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chief.
Is that complete? You guys don't have anything special, do you?
Nothing on the agenda.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, I need a motion then to adjourn the meeting.
So move. Second.
A motion is second. All in favor?
I,
Passes 6-0. Thank you.
Yes, he is.
It's.
Yeah, it's his new job.
Love it.
Comments on the.
Me too. You go.
Yeah.